Hey everybody, it's your girl Cachet coming at you with another video. Today I am doing a collab with the lovely Becca C. Smith and Kate Kavanaugh. Y'all know we love us some N.K Jemisin, and N.K Jemisin has a masterclass. I know most of y'all probably already know about it because a good portion of y'all definitely sent me the link to make sure I knew that it existed. It's been a long time coming, trying to get everything together to where our schedules could link up and do it, but I am super glad that we are getting a chance to do it today. I am going to watch the videos, give you guys my thoughts as I'm going through it, let you guys kind of get a rundown of my notes, and then give you my thoughts afterwards. I'm also going to link both Kate and Becca's channels and their respective videos in the description box below. So yeah, let's get to it. Alright y'all, so I just finished the first exercise, and so in the exercise you had to draw two circles and like do continents, draw your equator, kind of think about like where the wind currents and stuff is. This is like going into world building. So I'm not currently working on a science fiction and fantasy story, mainly because I have science fiction and fantasy stories that I got stuck on because I didn't know where else to go and what else to do. So this actually ended up starting out being really helpful for, if you guys remember, I was working on a story of a deaf girl, and she had a service dog that was also a shapeshifter, and then I was also working on the shapeshifter peacock story, and they're all set in the same world. These were short stories that I was working on. So I say all that to say, like, I get into it and I'm like drawing and stuff, and so this is all under macro world building. And one thing that stood out to me up until this point where I'm at in the video was, she says dig into the minutia. And when she talks about that, she brings up the list of the seasons that are in the back of the Broken Earth trilogy books. And she said there's about 20 seasons that we don't even know about. And so she said that to say that there are a lot of things that you will write about your world that your readers may never see. That doesn't mean that you don't still need to know it, or that it doesn't still need to exist. Alright, I like that. Okay, y'all, I just had to pause the video because Nora's vocabulary is just, I'm learning words I have never heard before, like syncretism. And it's pretty much what it is like the fusion of beliefs that happens among like humanity just because you're around each other. So like, y'all know how there's so many similarities to the virgin birth of Jesus to other deities across the world, right? So just how those things happen. And it made me think about the stuff that I want when it comes to the Lavender Isles and that location, because originally the thought was that it was a very far future Earth. But then it was like, what if it's just a different freaking planet altogether? Then I could play with and manipulate things so much better. Y'all know that I rather just make up cities in a state that I'm very familiar with. So like, I don't like to have to make up a whole bunch of stuff. But this makes more sense. I'll give her that. This makes more sense. Alright, y'all, I just finished another lesson, and the thing that I wrote out that stuck out to me was Clarke's third law, and it's any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. And N.K Jemisin says that she feels the exact opposite is true, right? That any well thought out, well built magic system is indistinguishable from science if it, you know, the rules and the way that it works. And I thought that was pretty cool, because I thought of the Broken Earth trilogy as more science fiction than I thought of it as fantasy. And as she was talking, and she was talking about the orogenic power and what it does and how it works, and she was like, I don't explain it. You're never gonna know. There's nothing, you have no clue, because there is no explanation, and that is what is magic, right? Like, duh. Y'all, first, I just feel like, yeah, okay, let me let y'all see, like, notes, y'all. Like, I'm already 2 pages in a note, y'all. Like, y'all, I might let y'all skim some of this, like, towards later on in the video. Don't get too crazy, though. I got, like, ideas on here. Y'all can't know about that. Alright, y'all, I just had to pause. I'm in the middle of a video, and she just said talk to subject matter experts. Y'all, sometimes I miss IT so much that when I hear things that, like, make me think back to those days, I'm like, SMEs are so important. They're so important. Okay, back to it. Alright, y'all, so where I'm at in the lesson now, N.K Jemisin just went over what high immersion, moderate immersion, and low immersion is. In doing that, y'all, she educated me on POVs and whatnot. Because, okay, y'all, I'm going to admit something to y'all, right? Like, I know that I write in first person and third person. That's about it, right? Nothing else. And so after she explained it, I now completely understand what third person limited is versus third person omniscient. It makes so much more sense now. Because I was like, am I sure that I know like what's going on and whatnot, and how to do this? But I think it's because I'm so used to hearing conversations about don't head hop, that because of that, I guess I only saw third person as third person limited, right? Like, I only really knew that existed. And I'm honestly trying to think of a story that is third person omniscient that I've read. Like, I don't know if I've read a third person omniscient novel. But in saying that, she did list, and I don't know if I'm saying this right, the Gormingist novels by Mervyn Peake. Definitely on my to read list, y'all. Definitely on my to read list.
His hair, and you knew that in the dream that if you reached into his hair, your hand would be in. And the truth of the matter is that trauma doesn't normally look like what we think it dramatically does. What we see in the movies and what we see of trauma in entertainment is not what it really looks like in life. In a lot of cases, people who've come from backgrounds of abuse or torture present in this completely calm or measured way. They're controlled. They have good reasons to need control in their lives. And in a lot of cases, we hear stories about, police or judges not believing in rape or other kinds of trauma victims because they seem so controlled, so visibly, outwardly safe and together.
I'm over halfway through with the class now. Where I am, there's been like a couple of things that have like made me like feel some type of way. So like up to now, I just want to say that N.K Jemisin puts brackets on things that she doesn't know in her draft, and so do I. Also, N.K Jemisin dreams about her characters, and so do I. Like, okay, no, but seriously, like, it felt kind of good to hear that. It felt kind of good to hear that because sometimes I do be feeling crazy, like completely crazy. So yeah, so I like where we are so far. I feel like she's given me a lot to think about when it comes to world building. And one thing that she said that stuck out to me was, as an artist, it's your job to perceive and interpret what you see, right? So like, I love to people watch, and I have people watch for forever. And so when I have been listening to everything that she's been saying, knowing that it's about science fiction and fantasy, and y'all, I have 2 stories that I want to write so badly that the entire time they were kind of pulling at me. Like, because they deal with so much of what I see and what is going on in the world around me and how I feel about it. And I just think that, one, even though I'm not currently working on a fantasy, I have learned some things that I feel like are going to help me in the stories I'm currently writing. And that was one thing I did not expect. I honestly was like, okay, this is just gonna, I'm taking it a little early. This is just gonna be stuff that I'm gonna have to file away. I'm gonna take good notes on it, but I'm gonna have to file it away because it's not gonna matter, right? For what I'm working on right now. And actually, like, I got ideas like, okay, maybe this book should be written as a memoir, like not mine, but as the character's memoir. Because they want to tell their story, and like I'm writing and I'm sitting here and it's like the character is like, I'm writing my memoir because we always know history is told by the winners. And that like was like in my head, and I was like, okay, all right, let me get this. So I will say, even if you aren't a science fiction and fantasy writer, I do still think you could get something from this class, because I totally am. And that's not even like, I love N.K Jemisin, I got something on her class. Like, no, legitimately, y'all, I have 1 front and back and 2 front and back. So it's a thing. I even got like little drawings and stuff, y'all. Like, it's got little triangles and stuff. I'm gonna let y'all see. Alright, y'all, so I have just finished the 2 lessons about the lessons about characters. I don't know if it was 2, like, don't give me the line. And so N.K Jemisin talks about externally driven and internally driven character arcs, and I never heard those terms before. But then she even gave like where they start and like what phases they should go through. And she says they both start from a place of complacency. And even like I said, I've been thinking about the story that's kind of been like nagging at me. And it was like, what is complacency for her? And what gets her to the point that she has to react and go on this killing spree, right? Y'all, I'm so excited about this killing spree. Y'all have no idea. And so I liked, now y'all know how I feel about people writing marginalized characters, right? And so I feel like N.K Jemisin, because of course she's a queen, said it like the way I could never figure out the words. And she said, write about others, not as the others. And so I took that to mean is write about that character, write about that place, write about that culture, but don't write as if you are that person and you know what those experiences are like. And she even, of course, y'all know my favorite thing to talk about, sensitivity readers. She brings up that, and homegirl talks about paying the people that she had reading her stuff, paying the SMEs, paying these people who are essentially like beta reading, critiquing her work. And I think that says a lot, one, and I think that's something that we don't talk about enough. Y'all know I'm gonna talk about it till I'm blue in the face, but I do feel that the worlds that we write should reflect the diversity that is people, right? The diversity that is personalities, the diversity that is beings, right? So even if they're not human or humanoid, like there's still so much difference between who we are and what we do and things like that. And that should never be ignored. But it should also never be used in a false manner, I feel. Hey y'all, I just finished the second to last episode of the N.K Jemisin class. In this episode, she talks about the publication process. And a few things that she brought up that I loved was she talked about like pitch wars and like literary magazines and things like that you connect with. She talked about ways to find an agent. One thing she said that I had never heard anybody else say: when you send your manuscript to an agent, send it with a time frame indicating exclusivity and a time frame for a response. In that way, so that you're not giving it out to multiple people at the same time, but also you're not having someone put you on the back burner and not like be able to get to you. I'd never heard that, and I thought that was a good thing. The other thing that she talked about that y'all know I got excited about was short fiction. Yo, I love it. And so it actually made me like super excited because I am going to be working on something over this summer that is short fiction, and I'm hoping that I can end up telling the story that I want to tell and get it out there into the world. And so I got super excited because it was just, I felt like it was confirmation for this thing. Like I found out about this thing less than a week ago, and I am taking this class, and I'm like, yeah, I really would like to work on this. I would really like for this to be a focus, and to know that N.K is like, this is something that is going to make you a better writer. This is something that's going to help. It is going to get you seen if you put enough work into it. And it's like, okay, let's do that. y'all, I finished the last episode and lesson, y'all know what I mean. And I genuinely cried. I've been struggling with choosing a pen name, trying to figure out what I want to do as far as that, because I really don't want my private personal life out there. I just never wanted to put my family's business out there. I've always wanted to be private in that. And in her talking to us as marginalized authors and what to do and how to show up in spaces, it is such a freaking conundrum. And it was heartbreaking to hear her say the words that she said. And so when she's talking to the marginalized authors and she's, telling us about, like, if you don't want to be out there, if you don't want them to know that you're black, if you don't want them to know that you are whatever it is that you are, you have to understand and know that in some form you are being complicit in this system that doesn't allow you to create space for yourself. And that struck me because for those of you guys who don't know, like, I'm perfectly fine with my short stories being out there with my name, but my actual plan and intention was to never put my name out there for a novel. I've never wanted people to know who I was. I don't care to be famous. I have never, like, even with the creation of this YouTube channel, like, I never thought that I would get to 1,000 people following me. So, like, I definitely have never even thought of or fathomed, like, 100K or something where, like, people would know me or know my name in this type of way. And so, because it's not something I'm okay with. I don't like celebrity culture. I don't like the way that we try to tell people that they can only say certain things if we don't know who they are. Like, the way that we kind of act like celebrities don't have a right to speak up about things or to have mental health days or any of that. I'm not okay with that, so I would never want to be put into that category, because, no, I'm still a human being, and you probably still gonna get cussed out messing with me. Like, nah. Also, because I know people message famous black people, calling them the N-word, calling them all kind of racial slurs. My mental health is not set up well for that, because I see red and I want to make you eat your words. So that wouldn't go over well trying to publish a book and whatnot, trying to get published again after the first one. Like, it wouldn't be a thing. So it's been a sore subject for me. And while I will admit that for a brief second she had me rethinking it, the fact that there were multiple talking points about harassment and bigotry as a writer was like, nah, I'm still going to use the pen name. And I'm still probably not going to ever have my, like, actual likeness. Like, it's not a thing that I'm okay with. But also, why are people just so awful? Like, why would you do that to somebody who just wrote a dang book? You don't like the book, don't read the book. Like, why would... Human beings. Gotta love them. Okay, guys, so now for my thoughts as I am finished with the class. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I did get a lot out of it. I got up to 3 pages, front and back of notes. I do feel like going into my fantasy work, which I don't think I'll start until probably the end of the summer, but I do think going into my fantasy work, I will do a lot better from what I learned in this. Also, like, I think that the contemporary mysteries, thrillers, horrors that I'm working on are definitely going to grow from this, because there are so many things that she talked about that deal with science fiction and fantasy that hit right on point. Sorry about that. There were so many things that she said, even though it was about science fiction and fantasy, that hit on the type of stories that I want to tell and the way that I want to tell them. Especially because of the talking about character-driven stories. And I like a good plot. And I do feel like the one novel that I know I want to get back to, I do feel like I have a few plot-driven novels, and I do think that they could go far. But I am really, really trying to do as much as I can with this and get this that I'm working on where I need it to be. So I honestly would recommend this class to anyone who has not taken anything on world building. I have not read a book on world building yet. The only kind of like world building thing I've gotten is from the Writing the Cozy Mystery, and that's not even been extensive where I'm at yet. This gave me a lot to think about and a lot to consider as far as where I want to go next with my fantasy stories. I do think that sometime this week I'm probably going to like sit out and actually start to draw and work on the world building. Even if I'm not writing any fiction on it right now, I would like to kind of work on that. I do feel like, one, it could be therapeutic AF, and I might really need that. And two, this lesson really does kind of have me wanting to do that. Alright guys, so if you have taken the N.K Jemisin Masterclass or any other Masterclass, let me know how it worked for you, if you got anything out of it. If you made a video about it, link it in your comments so that I can go ahead and check it out, because I definitely like to see other people's thoughts on this. And don't forget to check out Becca and Kate's videos on their channels. Again, I will have them linked in the description box below. I want to thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day to watch this video. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Bye.